Okay, so I'll start over. Thank you all for joining the lead Dems of our, what is it, March monthly meeting. I just forget, next week is April, right? So I said the same thing. Sorry, Deb, when we were in the Conservation Commission, I still can't get over that. Next week is April. So with that said, today is our caucus. So our slate of officers are myself as chair, David Benson as our vice chair, and then Eric Johnson as our treasurer. Both Eric and I are in the current positions, and David would be a new addition, which is very exciting. The New Hampshire Democratic Party would like us to have a secretary / clerk. But because our meetings are on Zoom and they are recorded, they're also transcribed. So we don't really have a need for a clerk or a secretary. And we've had one in the past, but she felt underutilized. And I would never want to do that to anybody. Obviously, everyone's time is precious. And so it might just be better and easier not to have someone in that position. If someone feels strongly against that, that's absolutely fine. It's just my thoughts. And I would love for someone to step up and take notes. But if no one volunteers, then that's where we're at. So that is our slate of candidates. Is there any one to voice an opinion against the current offering?
I don't have an opinion
You're
against,
all great.
but I have an argument to make for somebody signing up for secretary / clerk, because it sounds like essentially you have no official duties until it comes time to be, or till the annual meeting, right? So if you felt like you didn't have time to do it, there's not really a time commitment per se.
Well, actually, that's true. When you said that, we actually need to also elect a at-large member for the conference as well. It's the New Hampshire Democratic Party's conference, and usually held in June. It's usually in Manchester, sometimes it's Bedford. So we actually do need, technically, I guess, 2 positions. Again, they are just people who want to go to the conference.
Well, I probably have to go anyway as a member of the county committee.
Yeah.
Though, of course, I don't know if I'll be reelected. But I mean, I could do that.
Okay. And then Katrina and Deb, I know you like to go as well. So do any of you want to be the at-large member and of course have no responsibilities, just go to the conference and of course give your wonderful opinions of the committee and just kind of like share, but kind of
I don't mind going. It would depend on when the date is, because we're starting.
Yeah, they don't announce that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Maybe we should have 3 of us and one of them will just be an alternate in case
for that.
In case one of us can't make it at that date.
So
Yeah.
if one of you wanted to be the clerk, and then I can just give you the recordings of this and you can just get the transcripts, and then we can have 2 people potentially be our at-large as alternates, and that would take care of everyone on this call except for Rebecca, and that's okay.
He has a position.
Who already has a very important position. Yes.
Not looking for more elected duties. I'm good. I'm good.
Thank you for everything you do, Rebecca. Is that okay? I mean, I guess we're all on the slate then. Isn't that exciting?
Oh, wow.
We
We
all
can vote for
win.
ourselves.
Yay. Okay. So who wants to be the title of clerk / secretary? Sue, Deb.
Nobody wants to? You want me to do it?
Sure.
It's really just in title.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, my attendance could be better, which is one reason why that's not a great, but as long as I don't have to take notes at every meeting and it's just an empty title.
Of course, this
I
is
mean,
recorded. Yes.
You remember when there were organizations that had both recording secretaries and corresponding secretaries. Remember that?
No.
I could be more of the corresponding kind of secretary.
Well, that's a good idea. You could do some of that correspondence. That's nice.
You know, in the sense that, you know, maybe advising on letters to the editor.
We always
That
need more
kind.
of that. Yes.
Oh.
No,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Okay. So now our slate is me for chair, David for vice chair, Eric for treasurer, Sue Mayer as our clerk, Deb and Katrin as our at-large delegates for the conference.
Right.
Yay. I'm so glad you
Yeah.
all joined today. Okay.
You know something?
Yeah.
I forgot about this, but I just remembered it. I think we changed our bylaws back a while ago, about the time you started as chair, to make the past chair a member of the executive committee.
Yeah, but that's
I'm
you.
the past chair.
I was gonna say, I took over for you. We don't have an executive committee, but I'm more than happy to have more meetings and maybe get David involved, and you are welcome to join anything you want. Yeah, I know it goes back to Anne, you, me, and Maria.
Yeah, that's
Back
right.
in-
And Anne's in Maine.
I know.
I miss her.
Should we vote?
We should vote. If no one
Fabulous.
has any issues with the slate, we should vote.
Yeah, let's vote.
Okay. So can I have well, I've already done for our recording secretary, which is Zoom. You know, well, we have the motion. So who will,
Second the motion.
I guess I'll do the motion and Katrin will second. Is that what I
Great.
heard?
Yep.
Any discussion or all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Yay.
You're still on mute.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Especially since you're treasurer, I want to make sure I get an eye from you. Well, thank you all. Oh, I love this. Okay, go team. So we're official. I'll file the paperwork probably tomorrow, not tonight, with the Democratic Party. I will also let Walter know because he was worried about us. And
We were all worried about us. Thanks you for stepping up again. That was amazing.
so David and I'm just gonna put this on record too. We put in a pact that we are now going to work on a secession plan, and we'll start actually getting more organized, and he's going to actually step up and help, and we'll move on to and get into the future of the Lee Dems and hopefully grow it.
Yay.
And of course that leads into our next conversation of what should we do as a committee? Because we
I
can
have an
keep this
idea.
doing education, but I think we should do more. So Sue, what are your ideas?
So, one of the more effective advocacy organizations, progressive ones, is Indivisible. And one of the reasons it's effective and collects people is because it gives people tasks, that really doable tasks that sound important and that are important actually, but are important to the people who are attracted by what they stand for, right? So in their case, there are weekly tasks. We don't need to do weekly tasks, but I think that if every month we could present members with some kind of important task to do with nasty things that the state legislature or the governor is doing, and that something that we can do back, whether it's a phone call or a letter to the editor or a letter to, or an email to one of our representatives who is not doing his job, like Gatsis, not that he cares, but you know, something. I think that's an engagement technique, and I think it's specific, and it's got to be something that looks like it might be effective if enough people do it, which is, I think, why Indivisible works.
Now, can I
And-
play devil's advocate for a second and just get your thoughts? Okay. So we have done even monthly education programs on how to write a letter to the editor, or, you know, how to make phone calls and not feel awkward or uncomfortable, or like, it's not about you, if, you know, that rejection, if you get a no, like we've had those kind of educational sessions and not many people show up, or when we go through them, nobody, like, the writing seems intimidating. And I know you've even offered to give templates and to help people, and we still can't get anyone engaged to do that.
But this isn't what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So I don't, you've probably received them. I think the party was sending them out. They sent out action things about bills that were really nasty bills about trans people and others. And they said, here's what you can do. So I think you have to engage people's outrage in order to get them to move. And I think that's one of the things Indivisible manages pretty well. Of course, they started with Trump, so that was easy to be outraged, right? But to be honest, these idiots in Concord running things are pretty
Not Rebecca.
outrageous.
We'll
What?
just say that. Rebecca's our only senator on right now. So not
I mean,
Rebecca.
the majority, Rebecca, not you.
Thank you.
They're pretty outrageous. So if the party could help us out by sending, do you know what emails I'm talking about that the party sent, NHTP sent out?
Yeah, I mean, I get like 5 a day, so I'm sure.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, not those.
It's the call
They-
to action ones with
the call to
yeah.
action ones.
Yeah.
If
No,
they would just do that once a month, we could piggyback on that. We could even just use that as a template. We could copy and paste the interior, the interior of it. Not everybody is probably getting those.
No,
Oh.
of course. And I will just say, just from my experience, and Rebecca probably can back me up on this, if you get copied and paste letters as a rep or a senator, you kind of just filed them. And I say the most, and Katrina.
Oh, no, that's not what I mean.
Because those letters are pretty, oh, yeah.
I mean,
Nope. Do that again, Rebecca.
I don't
Okay,
mean
hold on.
copy and paste letters. I mean, we could take the call to action from NHDP and paste it into a lead Democrat's
Mhm.
email. So it looks like it comes from us. And ask our lead Democrats to please take action.
This is what, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, charge your phone. But yes, no, this is perfect.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, right. It's okay. I could
Uh,
use one of those once in a while.
And I mean, it isn't going to be effective, but it might be, because we have such a close, such a close, they don't have much of a majority of just a few people.
Yep.
Of course, I wasn't impressed when like 30 Democrats didn't show up for a vote that one of
list.
the last times.
So
That was
out of
not
curiosity then, so I used to send out more emails, and I'm just polling people. I don't care. You can give me a very honest response. So when I used to send out too many emails, like I would hear, don't send so many. So then I pushed back and my emails were a little bit longer. Like I would give an update from what's happening in Concord, and then what's happening even with the Stratford County Dems, because Walter was really good at sending those emails out with updates. I don't seem to get them that often anymore, and that's okay. And then I take what even the select board was doing, and I would do like a little recap and had like the little lines in between, and that became too long, and I know nobody read that. So like, how do you find that happy medium to be like, yes, I need you to take action? Like, do you guys read the 2 emails I send out a month? I mean, you must, you're here, but like,
I do.
so we have
That's just
106
me.
people on, and thank you, Sue, I appreciate it. We have 106 people on that list. Do you think people will take action if David and I, and now I can, all of us, so I can get you all involved. Like, if we all send emails to the committee, do you think action will
It's
happen?
just once, she's saying once a month, the one that the,
Just once a month. And
Right.
it would be some specific action. We really need you to take action because the nutcases in Concord are up to no good again. And here's what they're doing. And
And
here's
real-
what you can do.
it has to be really specific directions. We have
Specific.
no idea whether people will do it, but unless we
Try.
try.
Yep.
We could try.
We can do that. That's easy to do.
Yeah, it has to be really specific instructions, like email this person, call this
Yes.
person.
And don't make them
And
do
tell
any
them.
work. Here's their email.
Right.
Right, or if it's a phone
Right.
call, here's their phone number, and
Okay.
here's what you need to tell them in
Right.
your own words.
So
And is that what comes from the,
And that is
the
the sort of
committee
thing
or whatever it is?
indivisible. I still get their emails. I'll forward. If you want, I can forward one of theirs to you so you can see what it is. It's usually, here are your action items for this week. And that's 1, 2, 3. And you can, of course, choose to do none or all of them or one of them. I mean, and it seems to work for them. They also have a thing where it says, click any link if you still want to receive these emails. So they must have some kind of sophisticated system to, offload people who don't want to receive them anymore, aren't reading them.
Right.
I think having one thing to do a month is good. I get these emails from Americans of Conscience or something like that. I can't remember. And they give you like 17 different things to do. And I'm like, I can't do any of them.
No.
Just one thing.
Usually they have one topic that you could do different things about.
Well,
know?
if the county,
Like you could
is that what you're?
call, or you could email, or you
Okay.
could, go to their office about X, right?
But who, so that action alert, where did that come from? That was up on the
The
screen?
Democratic Party.
The party sent
Yeah,
it.
so they send it to whoever, and the whoever forwards it to the lead Dems. That's pretty easy.
So I do know
don't
that
have
there's
to
a
be around.
ton of groups. I know my organization sends out this kind of stuff all the time. There's a million, like if you're interested in energy, I can get you on like 20 different lists. If
Yeah.
you're interested in voting rights, I have probably 10 for that. So I just don't want us to reinvent the wheel. And I want us to think for a minute about what are the things that are making people not want to join the
Right.
Dems? Why are they not coming? What's the thing that they wish that they would do? What's the thing that would make them feel excited? And I don't know that that's going to solve our problem. It's a great idea for something that we can do. That's great. But I just am wondering what it is that as a lead Dem can we offer that you can't get from other groups because it's your local community, and how do you tap into what people are missing here?
Right. I want to grow the group. I mean, I love you all so
Yeah.
much, but
Yeah.
we need, I've even said to David, and I feel bad for them. Like, he's new blood. he's fresh new blood.
Yay, David.
Yeah. I even asked him, like, do you have any other friends who might like not know about the group and want to join? I will say Catherine Fisher caught me today and she wants to join. So
Great.
that's one new person. That's good.
Maybe we
what
should
are-
have a party when the weather gets warm outside and invite everybody.
That would be good. And don't forget to have a sign up sheet.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing to engage parents?
Good question.
Because I think in the post-COVID era, there's some politics there that, now that we're sort of in person and stuff, have fallen along different fault lines, and the Republicans have a cleaner argument. I think in some cases that speaks to people about schools, but ours is, obviously, in my opinion, on the right side of history, like many issues. But I just wonder if, if there's a parents teacher association and you could kind of start inviting some of the chairs there to your events, or they could be involved in action items related to schools specifically, or just thinking aloud.
I think it's about us helping people with actual things in our community that they need help with, and they know that they can call on, or that they see us getting things done, so then they want to be part of it. I think that's what people really are longing for, is success. I know in the committees that we start, when you have like the Trails Committee, where you can see like they were here, now things are better than they were before. That's exciting, and that does really well. And then we have a group that doesn't produce much or have much to say for it. You kind of, it doesn't have that momentum.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I challenge that it might just be hard to deliver on that in this state environment, but I think your concept is very sound.
Right.
A lot
In
of
your own
people
schools, you
hate
can,
meetings, you know, a lot of people just hate meetings.
right.
They do.
So one of the
That's
things that
why I
think-
said, turn it into a party some of the time,
Yeah.
a social event.
Community. Yeah.
Pat up in Barrington that's how she got her whole committee together originally, by basically bringing goodies to her meetings and somehow making it into a social event.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I can debate about that one, but I will say she did take ideas from the Dover Dems, who were incredibly successful in growing their leadership.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say that I think that there's some things that the Dover Dems do that we could do too. And they're very action oriented. They do all sorts of things in the community with t-shirts that say Dover Democrats on them.
Yeah.
And I know from the Trails Committee that people like to do things. Our motto is have fun and get things done. People like to do things.
Yeah, I think that's right.
They feel,
Can you
know,
give
they
us
do-
of the Dover
what-
Dems, what they've done?
they do food collection for the 24, what is it, 64, 148
68
I
hours
don't
of
know.
hunger. Yeah.
The weekend thing. I forget what it is.
68 hours.
There you go. I knew it was some number.
The other thing that does is I think it helps people, like there's a lot of anxiety about the partisanship and just sort of like the civility of politics right now. And, you know, in reality, obviously a lot of that still exists. So I think being out in the community as Democrats, it's like, look guys, we're just people, we're
Yes.
not yelling at each other all the time, you know,
Right.
which unfortunately I think is important right now.
Yeah.
And you can do things that are a message, like that's a great one, the 68 hours of hunger. You can offer, you know, do things with books. You can plant a, you know, pollinator garden. Like there's all kinds of things that are little fun few hour activities that really make us in the public eye, get us to do something together, and feel like, okay, you know, that's the thing we did.
Maybe doing some things on the weekend would help out the parents of small children
I will also say that
instead of in the evening.
Yeah, we
weekday
ended up, I agreed. We, this meeting, as an example, we used to be at the safety complex, right? And we moved it because we heard feedback from parents that said, I can't make 7 o'clock in person, but I could do 7 o'clock virtually because the kids are going to bed, or everyone's settling down and they're doing, you know, the nightly. So we did that. And we did not increase our numbers, which was sad. And then, I mean, I actually liked how we had our panel the other day at 8 p.m. And not that we got more people, but I thought, oh, this was nice. Let's shake it up. And I even, when we were trying to figure out when to have this, the panel conversation, I sent out to the team, to the candidates, and so Eric and David saw this, but the doodle that we sent out, actually, or I sent out, was on behalf of the Lee Dems, was 8 a.m. through 8 p.m. So I'm like, we could do a lunch thing, we could do a breakfast thing. We've never shaken it up to see like what actually works best for everybody. And not being a parent, I don't think, I'm not a morning person, but maybe you guys are all up because you have to get your kids to school. And yeah, okay. Well, so you have no little kids either. So
No, I have a dog though that I have to deal with first thing in the morning. So,
But I'm
first
like-
thing in the morning is not good for me.
we could do like,
Ed and Rebecca have kids. They can tell
Right.
us. Mine are old.
They're still in high school. Well, one of them's still in high
So
school.
I can tell you that this is a annual fight that the Massway PTO has, because half the people want to have an evening meeting because they work during the day, and the other half want to have a daytime meeting because they don't have professional jobs during the day, but the evening time is their family or whatever, and that's how it is. So, you end up, no matter which one you pick, you end up getting somebody and not getting somebody else.
But could you alternate,
I
like
think
one
that's
month
right.
do and maybe hit everybody or a different group of people?
I suppose you could.
Okay, so the PTO doesn't do that, or you guys haven't had that kind of conversation in that.
Not really, because you've got much like us, right? They've got officers, chair, vice chair, treasurer, and so on and so forth. And if it's good for one group, then it's bad for the other, and you can't, unless you're gonna have co-chair, co-vice chair, co-treasurer, so on and so forth, and that never works. So
Hey, David, you got little ones. How does that work in your household?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this specific issue as I was like contemplating stepping up. Because like right now you're talking about like all these things going on. I have like, two kids running around. I got like dogs starting to fuss with each other, and it's like, but like 7 o'clock onward is always good. But I do feel like there may be some benefit to like alternating meetings, or just, I don't know, not necessarily setting it up randomly, but just doing something, because it's not even like the time of day, it's the time of year, because like summer schedule is different than like fall schedule, and like different people's kids or different activities at different times of year. So sometimes it's really slow, sometimes it's crazy. So I think it'd be a good idea to mix things up a little bit, although I don't necessarily have a good plan as to how to do that, other than saying, yeah, it's good to mix it up.
Do you think a later, like an 8 o'clock? I know that, like I said, I have 3 meetings right now exactly this time. Like an 8 o'clock meeting might be good for like a regular, consistent kind of what we do here meeting, but then have events and things planned more family friendly. Like
Yeah, that might be good, because like, like 7 o'clock is like everybody's had dinner, like activities are wrapping up, and you're like, right, like for me, like you're right on the cusp of like the end of everything. But now it's like, 7:40 and things have calmed down. Like I can finally sit down at a desk and like, not like try to do 3 things at once. So yeah, maybe like 7:30 or 8 o'clock might be a little better. But again, it all like, I say that and then someone will get sucked into some activity, and then 8 o'clock won't be here anymore. So who knows?
there's no perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when I was a younger person and I had young children, 7 o'clock was their bedtime, but I was putting them to bed at 7. So 7 would not have been a good time for me. And I was just lucky because both of them went to bed at the same time, even though one was almost 3 years older than the other. She didn't last long in the evening. So, so they had the same bedtime, and it was 7 o'clock. And, so, maybe for the younger people, 7 isn't so good.
Hey, Rebecca, you got the youngest, I think, out of everyone on this. What time are your girls' bedtimes?
Yeah. My girls' bedtimes are 6:30 and 7:30. But the way I generally do it is I just like, I have everything on my calendar. It's very night by night dependent. I mean, I've joined meetings because I went up to start the bath, so I had like 8 minutes of silence, like I just try to figure it out. I will say sometimes in person is almost easier, because like one parent can just stay home with the kids and you don't have like ragamuffins crawling all over you, and that kind of thing. And it's nice once in a while, like as mom, to be able to kind of have an evening away from dinner and bedtime, but you have to have a supportive spouse for that. I'll also say I just started this group called Mom's Caucus, which is for women in elected office. Katrina is one of our members, and the data for Moms Rising, I mean, like we're having our meetings at 6:30 because there's just no good time. just in case that helps you, but it's a perpetual problem.
Yeah. So when I used to be an executive committee member on this gymnastics club I was that my kids went to, it was a parent-run club. We had all our meetings on Sunday afternoon.
Hmm.
And that was good for everyone. You know,
There's also a conversation Portsmouth is having, which is probably beyond your scope, but worth being aware of, which is whether like having childcare available at meetings would help parents attend, and whether that's an appropriate caucus expense. You know, I don't think you're at that scale that's a concern, but it's just something interesting.
Partner with other activities happening anyway, if there's a
Mm-hmm.
after school or whatever, something, I don't know.
Bring them to the
I think
library.
the idea of moving the meeting to a different day and perhaps time is an idea worth exploring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always been on Tuesday. And Sue, do you remember why? I've just always kept it on Tuesday, but can you remember why it was on Tuesday? Yeah. I think it's
I
always
think it was one of those
I
good
think
days that didn't
that-
have anything in they all
that
ended up-
committee back then, whoever was on it, took a vote about when, if I recall, because I think I might have been the chair then. They just voted on what day was best for them. I mean, it was just that group, for that group of people, Tuesday was the good day. But
10 years ago.
but
so
we
things
can
have changed.
change it. I mean,
Oh, of
it's-
course.
It might be worth doing a doodle poll
with everyone, because
with
106,
everyone.
maybe it'll tell
Yeah.
us,
Exactly.
maybe it's a bad day for a lot of people.
have a Sunday at 4, have a, whatever, different times.
Or just start with 1 o'clock on Sunday and go all through, and see which time on Sunday would work. Sunday
I will say
after-
we were first, and then everyone piled on us because I even said something to the sustainability committee. I'm like, you guys are all part of the Lee Dems. Why would you have a
Right.
meeting at the exact same time? And they didn't put the two together, and I still can't get them to come
We
back.
used to have them staggered. Like I used to be like, well, I always have Tuesdays. So if we have this, I had it organized. I think it was me. And then they all would change. And I'm like, you guys, it doesn't work that way. Like you can, if you're the first, you're the second, you're the third, but they got lost.
They don't, yeah, they're important, and I get it. It's fine.
They are actually only 2 people in a month that are left, and I'm sure can have some flexibility. So
I'm not gonna push them anymore. It's okay. I negotiated with them last year, and I was like, you gotta move. Like, if I
Yeah.
join, will you move? And they were like, yeah. But they never did it. And that's okay. So
oh,
I'll send out, I was like, let's negotiate. So I'll send out a poll to everybody, all 106 of us, and see what comes back. It would be interesting to see. I think actually would help grow us as well. And if some people said, maybe the mornings, then we can reevaluate and maybe shift some stuff. And maybe our fundraising community events can be on weekends if more people, are available, and we can look at that poll and kind of like figure out where the peaks and valleys are. So
Yeah, and you could always have like a new member breakfast, or a new
Mhm.
member volunteer event, and then, just sort of go from there too.
we had talked
Yeah.
about being in person every quarter as well. Like we had kind of thought of ideas when we moved to Zoom, just so we'd have some touch base. Even twice a year would be nice.
well, December is supposed to be the in-person holiday, but no one ever gives up their space. So we don't do in person. I know Sue's given it up once before, so thank you for that. But like Anne had
I
done
don't
it.
mind hosting people either in my deck and covered porch, or the covered porch can fit comfortably 10 people, but more than that, you spill onto the deck. Then you can have double the number of people, and the yard is big, for a large number of people, we could move it into the backyard.
Not
But
Bugsy.
December wouldn't work for that.
No,
But our kitchen is great. Your house is
the
very
kitchen is fine. Yeah, I mean, that would work too.
Yeah, because Anne hosted once and Dean has hosted once. My house is too small, or I'd let you guys all come here. I'm sorry. I have a big deck though. Summertime we could come here, but
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, I could probably
the
host
back
something.
porch,
Thanks,
the
David.
covered porch it was warm in there in the afternoon the other day. So it's a 3-season room really, because it's got windows that can close and the afternoon sun hits it full on. So it's quite comfortable in the afternoon if people wanted to be outside. I mean, some
You
people
can also
might
use the
still-
pavilion in the summer and
they don't let us use the pavilion
for what?
because I have to say we're the lead Dems. Although I can use the safety complex. I have been given permission to do that.
Since when? Because I think we changed that rule 2 years ago.
Was it?
Sure.
Oh, I haven't tried since COVID. So that probably, yeah.
We've completely changed the rules around the pavilion, so that'd be an option. The public safety complex is great. You've got access to a kitchen and it's nice and it's great.
It's where our meetings used to be. It was candy and convenience. So
Right, so no sense.
Even-
to make-
I
yeah,
think we should just think about where we'd like to have a social event, whether it's in, the pavilion outside, my porch, or
Right, anywhere.
the public safety.
David's house,
center.
he offered it
yeah.
to us.
David,
Thank you,
what's
David.
what is your space? Inside, outside? Tell us more.
I have
details.
both. I have a large deck with a pool. I have large interior space with a big kitchen. Like whoever built this house built it for entertaining. So I got the space.
All right,
Um,
problem solved.
No pool. We have no insurance to cover that. So
He has insurance in his house.
as long as it covers guests, I just want to make sure as a chair,
You
I'm
get a lot more kids if you have a pool involved in this
Well,
party.
I mean, it's very kid friendly. I have kid friendly dogs, kids that other kids can play with. So
Thank you.
I
I
will
think
say
that when Salme Perry has hosted things and she has a pool, democratic things, it hasn't been a problem.
I know I'm just
She must have.
putting it
insurance.
out there. I'm just being safe because we're being recorded. And I want to make sure that our liability is covered and like
Yeah.
we're thinking about that.
Mm.
But Katrina, I will say when I was talking with David, so he's got 2 boys and the oldest one is into social. And I was like, ooh, if we can start a mini group and have Grace and his kids, I was like, let's have a teenage like
Yes,
subcommittee. I was trying to
Perfect.
push for that.
I don't know. Mine was kind of mortified that I would suggest anything socially related for him.
I was just
so.
thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, okay, so that's a cute idea. Like they literally would never do it, but I'll just smile and between,
Grace helping
between
to
10 to 14 maybe, but after 14, like no.
I was like, she can help us with social and she can do fun TikToks and like she could do things that like I don't have time to do and she would be much more fun at it than I would be anyway.
She's good that way.
I know that's it's like plus like being the president of her chair of her class. Like I just could have started thinking of all these things that like we could use her help with. So if we have like a little mini committee, that would be amazing too.
Perfect.
All right, cool. Well, these are good in-person suggestions. So thank you all for that. Great list.
Could we add on the email that you're sending out with requests, say, name 2 issues that you wish we did as a committee and just see what people say if they bother to respond?
Or what would you like the committee to be doing?
Yeah,
Not necessarily issues, but what
Right,
would you like?
what would
the
you like us to be
committee
doing?
Are there
things-
specific actions you would like the committee to take on?
Yeah, even
Maybe we'll learn
categorize it
something.
like outreach or advocacy or, list
Yeah,
of 4 or 5 kind
right.
of general things.
I know our issues have always been property taxes and water quality, so I'll be curious to see if that's changed. Like on the news today, they were talking about housing was like their #1 segment on the 6 o'clock news. So I'll be curious to see like if anything else has shifted in
Right.
our views.
I shouldn't imagine housing is big in Lee. It's probably big in Manchester. But
No, it's big and Lee.
So
An
3
issue-
of us are on the housing committee, so
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
debate you.
it is?
Yeah,
Why is it big in Lee?
we
Because
started
there's
the
no
committee.
affordable housing, there's no place for
Right.
people to live.
Teachers and the people that work in the town, it's very hard to find a place to, so you have to commute. And that's not great when you have fire and police commuting and teachers commuting and stuff, so.
Hmm.
join us next Tuesday at the election.
Well, this may
Okay.
have something to do with the town buying up a lot of the land, something like 15, 17 years ago.
So
It has to do
again,
with our water issues.
so
Mhm.
me and Deb are on the Conservation Commission, so we can
Yes.
also talk to you about that.
Oh, but I agreed with that. I mean, it was done to make sure that the town stayed rural and didn't turn into Epping, right?
In our master
That-
plan.
But we still had town meetings back then, and the talk was, we didn't want to turn into Epping. So the town should buy up 20% of the land. And I think it maybe has by now.
That was
And-
23. Do you happen to know, Deb?
I think it's close to 23, yeah.
Yeah, I think the target back then was 25%. They did a study of it and decided that if we owned that much of the land, then we couldn't kind of overbuild, and if we overbuilt like Epping, we'd end up with higher taxes. And anyway, I think that's probably right. Because I know some people who live in Epping and they complain all the time.
I know people in every town that complain all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, Epping is the
Taxes.
center of the universe. We should only be so lucky.
Because they make deals with like Walmart and Lowe's to get them in there, but then they say, oh, but you don't have to pay any taxes, and that gets them in there. And then they're stuck with all the extra infrastructure they have to build.
And now that's being done in Concord with the governor getting rid of all of our taxes for corporate entities, but that's a different story, and maybe something for an alert that only Eric and I would care about. But there's lots of stuff's going to Ways and Means that should not get passed.
Yeah, there's a
Well,
lot.
I
lot
agree
of
with you
position.
on all that. I mean, I think that in general, corporations are getting away with it and socking it to the rest of us. And,
Rebecca, you came off of mute. Do you want to add to that conversation?
I literally came off mute to echo your sentiment that Epping has always been the center of the universe.
I
Something
was
really
consider
important to
my
say.
universe, at least. I can at least say that. That's where I do all my shopping and eating is in Epping.
But it did remind me that you and I never did get together about your
No.
housing committee. So if I can be of help, my schedule seems to be a little bit easier this
Alright.
year.
I'll
Just
ping
let me
you
know.
because yes, I would keep thinking, I'm like, oh, I really should text Rebecca. So yeah, I would love to meet up for that coffee that we were going to do like 2 years ago.
Yes, that would be great.
Yay. Okay, so what else should we be brainstorming about?
So I have one other idea. So I did a lot of canvassing this year in Rochester, and I talked to the head of the Rochester Democrats, but of course I can't remember her name. I can't
I
remember. her
can't
name.
either, and I should. 'Cause
Yeah,
she comes
but-
to the county meetings some of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
but they were in the same position we are now, and she said that they did a whole bunch of things to help grow their committee. So it might be interesting to have a conversation with her about what they did.
yeah,
know.
she was trying to
Great
engage me. Yeah, I can't talk to her. I push her off. It's Esther.
No, it's not Esther.
Oh,
Not-
Esther's the chair of the oh no, she's a representative from the Stratford
It's either,
County.
I want to say Peggy, but it's not Peggy. I forget. I mean, it would be easy to find out, but she was wonderful. I really liked her. So, and she seemed really organized and had a lot of good ideas. Because maybe there's things that we don't even know about yet, that we haven't thought about.
I agree with this. Good idea to talk to her,
So
whoever she may be.
yeah, so Esther Turner on March 8th reached out to me and gave me the schedule of what the Rochester Dems were doing. I said to her at this time, I don't honestly care, just because I knew that Lee was going through its own bumps. And I was like, we need to fix our own bumps before we engage with anybody else.
But I'm not saying that we join their thing.
No,
just
but that's
ask,
what she was
you
reaching
know,
out for. So yeah, no
Oh,
worries.
oh, okay. You
Yeah,
know, what did you do? Give me some ideas. What was the process that you went through
yeah.
to grow your Democrat committee?
and they actually get a lot of donations, Eric, just FYI. It's on their agenda for their March meeting. They said for old business, recurring donations currently receiving $70 a month. If we got that, that would be amazing.
It's impressive.
Yeah. So
Well, of course, Rochester
would we
and
spend it on?
Dover are big and
Yeah,
we're the same size,
that's
so
what I
we're just this tiny place. We
True.
don't have-
I
we don't have
agree,
a
but
lot of
you know,
business.
we're kind of doing this in a vacuum, you know? Other people have
So
been really
if-
successful, so. we'll
If that
see.
was the goal, right, was money raising, then I would say that the fact that we do our meetings on Zoom means that we could engage a geographically larger audience. And our guest of the month would become far more important.
that was always my goal. I do know that our meetings do get viewed on YouTube by more people who attend it live. And that always makes me happy because I do go in and look at the analytics. My goal with doing this too was exactly that. I mean, we could get speakers from around the country. It doesn't necessarily have to be here, although it'd be much more relevant. But if there's some amazing topic in DC that we want to have somebody speak on or whatever it might be, like how amazing would that be? Or
Right,
even
but what I'm saying, not just the guest speaker, but also the audience.
oh, correct.
By other Democratic committees, you mean? And that way you'd have more people coming and then more people would come.
Exactly, because we're having it on Zoom, we could have people from Northern Caucus on here
Oh,
who
we
want
could
to give
have
us $70 a month because we have a
partners.
good guest,
That's funny.
in theory.
Did get compliments from our last meeting from those who were not part of the lead Dems, who said it was a really good presentation. For me, there are two thoughts that I have. Unfortunately, like when we host panel conversations like that, we can't really be, our Zooms can't be published or publicized with any of the town of Lee stuff, which is unfortunate because again, I've always said this, that we are really, why we have the name Democrats in our committee name, really we're all about educating the community. So I get frustrated with that because we really do have some excellent monthly meetings that are really relevant and the topics are amazing. And that's why I'm actually really excited when I see the numbers go up on YouTube, because I know it's not just us watching it, there are other people. And then the last panel, because there was an issue with the library Zoom, we started to get more views because people heard that the lead Dems had all of you guys on as panelists. And when I say all you all, I'm sorry, I'm looking at Eric and David when I'm saying that, but like and I even said to, some other people who are trustees currently, and I'm like, you can share this. Like, I can even edit it to take out the, like, hi, this is the lead Dems, was it February meeting? I'm like, I can take that out if you all would share this. Like, that would be amazing to me, like, because that's all my whole goal. And then Eric and Katrina, I think you both know this, like, I thought maybe we start like even a subcategory or something, a subcommittee or something with even Madbury and Durham to get a bigger audience. And Durham's not super active if it's not a presidential year. And I know there are people, Eric's met a couple who are really wanting to do more. And then Madbury doesn't even have a committee, a formal committee. Now, Pat did go in and try, but she doesn't know any of the people. So it was going to be a little bit more challenging for her to go into Madbury and try to help. So that might be an option too, to help us expand if we want to go in that direction. And that's why I said to the people in Rochester, I was like, let us figure out our little area of the world before we go north. I was like, that makes sense. Like Barrington would want to partner with Rochester right now. But like the three of us, like the Durham, Lee, and Madbury, like let us baby partner and then we can grow. So there are, I think, other options beyond Lee, or even just the Lee Dems. Like I wish the town of Lee or like the community of Lee would pick us up on YouTube. And then I wish like we could do more with the co-op. Even if it's like what Rebecca said, like getting parents involved and working with the school board. We don't do anything collectively. And I feel like there's a gap there.
Bye, Rebecca.
Bye, Rebecca. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, guys. Nice to see you.
Bye.
So I think there's a gap there too we could investigate at some point.
If you did Oyster River Dems or something fun, or had like a sub whatever, and then that might make it more comfortable, and then people might, like a couple parents might tell their friends or whatever, might be able to grow in the natural way that our community grows anyway.
I think that's a good idea. I like
Um,
that we cover Dems.
I have
Kind
to
of
say,
like the
I
Moose
don't-
Mountain Democrats, which is several towns up in the north part of Stratford County.
What is it?
Moose Mountain Democrats.
Oh,
That's several towns.
They have a
That's
land
Of course,
trust.
those towns have like 2 Democrats each,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
I don't think any group does a better job than Amanda does of getting guests. And I feel like if we opened up our doors and then they saw that amazing quality of guests that we get, they're gonna, because they want to be part of that. And then maybe that other group that we join is better at planning events. I don't know. Maybe we can partner with some things, people that are can enjoy our strengths and we can enjoy theirs.
I'm all about partnering. Y'all know that. So
Hmm.
any
Well,
thoughts? This is
I
very-
will tell you that the county has pretty much given up on Madbury. We really made a big push. I mean, sent postcards to every Madbury Democrat, trying to get them to a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
No takers. Called everyone. No takers.
I know 3 people who would join. So
Well,
at the start,
that would be a start. Maybe they could join our meeting.
they did. 2 of them did at one point, and I know one of our state reps, Janet's from Madbury. We can recruit her very
Well,
easily.
yeah,
But she doesn't
Pat
do
never
Zoom.
could get her on the phone, but.
I know, and I used to tell Pat how to do it, and so I have access to Janet. So we can get. She doesn't do Zoom easily, but we could get her at least to an in-person thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very cordial with her. I mean, we've known each other for an awfully long time.
Mhm.
Since maybe 2005. When we just started the Shea Porter campaign.
Oh.
Well, it wasn't really a campaign yet in 2005, but she was thinking about it. But I knew her back then. She used to come to the Lead Democrats meetings. So it was before 2005. It must have been 2002 or 3. She would come to our meetings and update us on what was going on in the State House.
She's great
She
at that.
she was kind of our rep.
She was rep. She had 8 towns, and Lee was one of them. It
Yeah.
blew my mind every time she told me that. I'm like, I have 2. How do you have 8? I don't know how you do it. So, I mean, now, of course, our reps have 4, but, we're going back. We're heading in that direction again. But I'm just like blown away by that. So, and I shared an office with Janet when we were both chairs. So I think we could get her, support. I said to Pat, I'm like, you're just not, I hate to say that, you're not in the know. Like, she just didn't know who Pat was. And like, you have to know Janet because she's just so busy. So,
Mhm.
so it's
But
all good.
maybe
We can try.
Maybe it's about reaching a different group too. Maybe the people that were being called and people, those are maybe it's time for some new ideas as well. So
Especially in Madbury.
yeah, if it's not working, let's bark up a different tree.
change it.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Any other ideas? Any other topics or?
Eric, we need more signs. Do you have more signs in your house? When are they going out?
I have signs in the back of both cars. My wife suggested that I do it today. I did not do it today. I did other stuff today.
I can do it tomorrow.
Anybody that would like to either come here and pick them up or give me a time where I can take them to you, I am happy to do that. Because otherwise I gotta do it all myself, and I don't want to do it all myself. So
Where do you live?
I live on Demerit Avenue,
Give me an address.
43 Demerit Avenue.
Don't go up his driveway though. Make
That's
him come down.
park at the bottom. I will come down.
What's your phone number?
Don't say it on Zoom. Why
It's
don't you
all
just
recorded?
Oh.
Yeah. Why don't you message
I
each
did
other?
just give my address on Zoom, so
Yeah, but
Well,
that's,
everyone already knows that
that's
anyway.
like public record. That's
and
Yeah, your
is the
address.
chat public
public.
record?
I will not make it public record.
There
Okay,
you go.
all right. I'll put that in the.
That'd be great because Deb knows where all the signs go and she is awesome at that. Oh, there, I see it there.
So Eric, on
Yes.
Tuttle Road, Bugby has a sign. So it would be very good if you also had a sign.
So that
Uh,
was I had the signs out when the election was supposed to be on the second Tuesday of the month. And part of my strategy was putting my sign right next to his, because for the obvious, like,
Right.
you see his, you see mine, you see mine, you see his, you know, it's kind of a wash. But also because presumably he wouldn't put his sign somewhere where the town is going to pick it up.
No,
And-
the sign on Tuttle Road is on someone's property. You wouldn't be able to put your sign next to it.
Yeah, so that was part two of my strategy is if I saw his sign and I knew it was on like at somebody's yard, then I wasn't going to chance it, but I would try and get it close to
Yeah.
like a heavily wooded area that couldn't possibly be somebody's yard.
Yeah, I mean, across the road, I don't think there's anything there. But the better place for it would be the Aldag's property at the intersection of 152 and Tuttle Road. Because if you put it on 152, you're getting a lot of traffic. And if you put it on that end of Tuttle Road, you're getting my entire neighborhood, which is pretty much all Democrats. And so I don't know if you know them.
I don't.
I know them.
But
Um,
they're
I'll-
Democrats.
I'll pick it up at your bottom of your driveway.
The
And
five
I'll
corner,
go put them there.
you
Leave
know, the
five
leaf
corners.
corners area,
Yep.
that'd be a great one. A lot of people are stopped and they're waiting and looking, so that's perfect.
155 and 155.
152
Yes.
and Tuttle Road. And on Tuttle, just make sure it's near the intersection of Hobbs, so the people turning into Hobbs see his sign. Then you get the entire neighborhood.
Okay.
I don't know, Bell Road also has a lot of people living there.
Anything that has a lot of like an intersection or a lot of traffic is just vital because the more you see it, the better. And
Yeah.
sometimes we tend to like put them all on one side of town or one the other. So thank you, Deb, for helping to spread them out.
It won't be until like noon. Are you going to be home at noon?
I will be home at noon.
Okay. I'll come
Yay,
by.
thank you.
And I think anywhere along 155 is a good place because that's a really well-traveled road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the signs need to go back out, and I know the
Did
mailer
you take
went-
them down?
For the
I
storm,
did. I took them down before the
they get
storm.
ruined.
Oh,
I
before
saw
the
one still on
storm.
125 today.
Bugby took down his before the storm and then put them back up.
That
Okay.
one was still up because I didn't realize it was there.
Oh.
I didn't actually place that one. I gave some
Oh.
to some friends of the campaign, if you will. And they did some work for me. And I think there's only one sign that they placed that I picked up because I knew. Well, anyway, doesn't matter.
It's all
There's only
good.
one
Just
I
get them
picked up.
out again. We want them out. We have
Yeah.
lots of them. We want to see it. So many.
So
I want
that
to
I know the mailer went out.
Mhm.
Because some people that I'm friends with harassed me about it, and also because I went to the transfer station the Saturday before the election.
Did
and
you
I
see a lot
sat
of them?
next to the baseball field for, well,
Oh.
somebody, he had already gone in and he was coming on his way back out, and he had it on his dashboard and he waved it at me. So
That's cute.
that's
Yeah, it was a
more
good one,
evidence that
good mailer.
that it came out.
Yeah.
And some people did stop and talk to me. I was out there it was only 3.5
Yay.
hours, but I was there in the morning.
So do you need
So-
money to help with all your expenses?
So I have a gracious donor, but to date, I have he gave me quite a lot of money, but not quite enough to cover everything. I think I'm still 300 and change short total. So anybody that would like to give me money, I'd be happy to have it.
Do you have a way to, do we send checks, or do you have a website that takes
Check
money?
would work. I don't have a website. I do have a PayPal account, which is how I got it from my generous donor in the first place. But if you don't have PayPal, then that doesn't work. Otherwise, check. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just on PayPal's under your name.
It's under my email address.
Which he'll put in the chat.
Great. David, you've got an exciting election coming up with some stiff competition. Everyone's
Yeah, you know,
talking
I don't know, like, because I talked to multiple people, like you included, like everyone's like, oh, library. And I was like, oh, library could be kind of fun.
it's
You know, it's
never
like a tangible
competition.
project. And then now there's 4 people. It's like, what the heck?
So we all had the same idea. We're like, no one ever runs, and we really need trustees. So we're like out there. And when you called me, I'm like, oh, you'd be great. This is so exciting. And then apparently also everyone else did that. So I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But
no, it's
the other
fun.
one that you're running for is, what's the other office?
Advisory budget, which I don't, you know, everyone's like, people who've done it elsewhere are like, oh my God, it's like painful. And I've been warned. So I don't know. I mean, it seems
It's
kind of
so different.
interesting. Yeah, it seems kind of interesting, but I don't know. Like I could regret it here in a year. I don't know.
If you ever want to be on the select board, it's a great place to have just an introduction to the entire budget. It's not as stiff. Some places it's has much more power. So what you do is much more stressful, but this is just advisory, and you'll get to learn a ton about the town.
Right. Well, that's what I feel like, you know, if you learn the money, you learn everything that's going on, and you can, even if, you know, you could springboard that into just about anything really. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yay.
Anyone else want to talk about anything else while we're on?
Oh, I did.
I kind of gave
Oh,
a treasurer's.
I've got one more thing.
Sure.
I'm gonna run again for an at-large position on the county committee. So
Yay.
I would appreciate if you guys would come to the county caucus and vote for me.
When is that again?
Oh, God.
I need to send it out. You can send it
Next-
as an email.
I can, yeah.
'Cause I don't think Walter sent anything out either. I haven't seen anything.
So, I'll check with Walter exactly on when it is, because I know our meeting should be Monday, but that might not be when the caucus is.
Right.
So let me check with Walter, and then maybe if you wouldn't mind very much, sending an email to the lead Democrats and asking them to vote for
I
me.
always do.
Yeah, I know you do.
'Cause I wanna
So
get
I want to
in.
let you know, just a quick update that the lawsuit against the Secretary of State to bust up the state rep district is having a hearing on May 5th. It's a motion to dismiss filed by the Secretary of State. And our response is don't dismiss it. But the hearing's going to be on May 5th. So there you go.
I'm going.
Cinco de Mayo, they better be serving tacos and tequila, and they'll
I
get me
know,
there.
right?
I do have one thing to say off recording, so I don't go anywhere. But does anyone else have anything to say before? Okay. Well, thank you all for joining. I'm gonna hit stop for our recording.